Hi everyone, Alexander Mariotti here. On behalf of the History Channel, I'm going to be doing something a little special today. I'm going to be talking about history, which you're used to hearing me talk about. But in this case, I'm going to be talking about a particular history because they've asked me to tell you a small known fact about me. Over the years, I've become a custodian of sorts and have a collection. I have the largest collection of items from films and TV shows that depict ancient Rome, such as Gladiator, Spartacus, Hercules. Some of these shows I've worked on, and I've developed quite the collection. And today I'm going to show you some of my particular favorites, telling you a little bit about their history and how they relate to history. I'm standing in front of Trajan's Column, one of my absolute favorite monuments in Rome. And it's a favorite of mine not just because I greatly admire the Emperor Trajan, who's a phenomenal emperor, one of the best emperors Rome ever had, but also because I think it shows you how history and culture tie in, especially with what I do and what I'm talking about today, which is cinema. I don't think it's offensive to say that most people have watched a movie or a documentary about ancient times or ancient history rather than read a text. But you know, that's not us being too far off the Romans. Romans did not read. In fact, most Romans could not read. So things like this were fundamental. I like to look at Trajan's Column like one of the first examples of modern cinema. It looks like a reel of film wrapped around a pole. And it tells the story of the wars of Dacia, which today would be modern day Romania. Now, at the bottom of the column are the standards, the armor, the weapons of the Dacians. And there's a particular detail that I want to point out, which is a dragon's head or serpent's head. It's called a Draco. It was a windsock that the Dacians and the Sarmatians used. And I have one with me today. This one here is actually from the movie Gladiator. Now, it's a kind of blink and you'll miss it moment. It's held by the legionaries of the Felix Legion in the opening battle of Germania. When you see them sort of riding along, you can see this catching in the wind beautifully. And the reason I adore it's not just because I love the film, but also because it kind of highlights what I do as a historical consultant on TV shows, which is I provide reference pictures and ideas for things that then can transform into something like this. The Draco was very important to the Romans because it was the symbol of the cohort. So just as the Aquila, the eagle, was the symbol of the legion, well, the cohort had the Draconarius, which is the chap who was responsible for holding the Draco. So they actually adopted it. It's one of the great things about the Romans. They took great ideas from their enemies and made them their own. And you can imagine this here must have been really imposing. But because of what I do, I actually get to have one of these. And what I love about it is that it's actually an amalgamation of two things. First of all, yes, it's a Draco and it's done very well, but the head isn't particularly serpent or dragon-like if you look at it carefully. In fact, you might not recognize it, but this is something that if you live in Rome and if you do what I do, you know very well. This is actually the head of the lupa, the she-wolf, and there's a statue on the Capitoline Hill and one in the Capitoline Museums, which is exactly this head, except underneath it you have Romulus and Remus, the fabled twins, that of course Romulus becomes the founder of Rome. So it's very interesting that movies sometimes take a little bit of history and kind of mix it together and give us beautiful items like this.